Welcome to another Balompie Banter. We're in Sevilla this week looking at the big game, the Sevilla Betis derby, which is on Sunday night. We're going to analyse some of the background behind that, and we're going to go down to Sevilla and talk to a couple of fans there about why they support the teams they support. Personally, I've got a soft spot for Seville. I did a little bit of work for them in the mid-90s when they came to play a youth tournament in the north of England. I was translator that week for them. The best player of the tournament was Carlos Dominguez. He went on to have a good career for Sevilla. He played for Sevilla and Mallorca in the Spanish First Division. Also, a funny story that week, we had to spring the centre forward out of an English jail cell. We sent them shopping, afternoon of rest and relaxation, and within 1 hour they'd arrested the centre forward for stealing an England shirt from a sports shop. We won't mention any names. It was the end of his career anyhow, so you won't have heard of him. But hey, let's get on with the show.
Seville is Spain's fourth largest city and perhaps best known for things such as bullfighting, flamenco, its religious festivals, or as Lord Byron once wrote, oranges and women. But unlike in other Spanish cities where one club clearly far outweighs its city neighbours in terms of success such as Madrid, Barcelona or Valencia, in Seville it's all to fight for. It was just 5 years ago that a Copa del Rey match between Seville and Betis had to be abandoned after Sevilla coach Juan de Ramos was knocked out on the touchline by a bottle thrown from the stands. Sevilla have had more success over the last decade, winning the UEFA Cup and the Copa del Rey twice, while Betis reached a peak in the 2004-05 season, winning the Cup and qualifying for the Champions League. But then everything fell apart for them and they were relegated to the second division in 2009. Now, however, Betis are back and they hold the upper hand. Under coach and part-time novelist Pepe Mel, they are fourth in the standings and have won plaudits from many people for their form of attacking football. Sevilla have been inconsistent, but they did beat Madrid at the Sanchez Pizjuan in September and only fell to a last-minute goal at home to Barca. Sevilla trail Betis by 4 points in 10th. So while unbeaten leaders Barcelona host Zaragoza on Sunday, second place Atletico visit Granada and Madrid host Athletic Bilbao, we reckon you should take time out to catch the fireworks of the Seville derby.
It's reasonably quiet now outside Sevilla FC's stadium, but a few days from now it'll be a hive of activity as the city's teams compete in a fiercely fought derby. We spoke to two adopted sons of the city about what made them choose Betis or Seville.
So I remember going to a UEFA Cup, I think it was called the final match against Chelsea. It was Betis-Chelsea, and it was Betis' biggest match for years. And the stadium was half full. The atmosphere was pretty bad. Chelsea had a good match, but the atmosphere for the Betis fans was pretty bad. And that was my first match in a Seville football stadium. Then I went to watch Seville play. And it was the same year, and I think we were playing Numancia, which most English fans probably have never even heard of. And it was the last match of the season. Seville was already going down from First Division to Second Division. And it was the final match. It didn't mean anything. Last home match of the season. The stadium was absolutely packed. Couldn't get to the seats. You know, we were standing at the front or sitting on the stairs. Atmosphere was fantastic, and I just walked out of there and said, okay, it's a clear choice. It has to be Seville.
It was like natural selection. I'd been to see some Seville matches, but didn't warm to them as such. And it just seemed when I went to my first Betis match that was where I was supposed to be.
Seville's a very closed community. It's not terribly cosmopolitan, and you know, belonging to one of the football clubs, it gives you a sort of sense of belonging that often you don't have in the city in general. It's something, I've got 3 young kids here, and it's something that I can share with my kids. You know, that Seville tends to be Semana Santa or churches or football. So
I think Betis probably transcends football in the way it's much more of an organisation of people. The football is almost accidental. It seems like it's a club that could be made up of celebrating any kind of sport or activity, but it's almost by accident that it is football. It's mostly about a community.
We were playing Barcelona at home. It was Barcelona was 2-0 up at half time, and the Biris, the main Seville fans, just didn't stop singing. They were singing continuously. And little by little, the rest, it puts my hairs up on it, you can see. Little by little, the rest of the stadium started singing and singing and singing. And then you saw the players improving minute by minute by minute, and we ended the game 3-2. It was a fantastic home win.
My most abiding moment was when we came up from the second division. We'd already come up and they'd organised a flamenco spectacle. We were playing against the team that had won the second division, Espanyol, that day, and it was a complete washout with rain, and as such, in that respect, it was a disaster. But when the team came out onto the pitch, the way they received the Espanyol team, who were champions of the league, and then their own team, it was made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
There's a lot of banter. You know, my children, when they're singing in school, if they sing the Seville anthem, then the Betis kids will be putting their fingers in their mouth, and that sort of carries on into adulthood. I remember when my children once kept driving past the stadium, was sick in the car, and I was, hey, that's because we're too close to the Betis stadium. But you know, it's banter. It's a very peaceful city generally, so it's just fun. I do remember one match where it was where they were attacking guards and there were helicopters flying overhead and whatever. But that's not the norm.
I think their fans have an aim for being. They get behind the team. When the team is doing well, that has to be said. They can be very critical when the team is not doing well. They tend to be quite passionate about their football. In that respect, I think they're much more. They're more to do with the actual football itself than Betis fans are. I feel much more to do with people are sharing the time together.